Analyst, and thank you for that, Chris. Jonathan Turley, because his name came up in Joe Negus's presentation. Jonathan, there were three names that were brought up: William Blount, William Belknap, and yours. The Belknap case, Donald Trump's attorneys say the reason why he was acquitted was because a large number of senators believed it was improper to hold a trial post-Belknap leaving office. The Blount case, Negus did not mention that Blount, the trial was dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. But you featured prominently in this as well, your writings that, yes, indeed, after somebody has left official office, they could be up for an impeachment trial.
Now, I want to emphasize I was not impeached, and I don't know those two gentlemen. But the only reason I note that is because apparently, according to the House managers, only a couple of weeks ago, this was my position on retroactive trials. What they're citing is an article from 21 years ago. And in fact, that Duke piece can legitimately be cited to support retroactive trials. I was talking about those very trials you just mentioned, where removal was not one of the options, and they were there to achieve other things, like the condemnation of officials, like disqualification, and those are all worthy, and I still believe that. What I've changed in the last 3 decades is I've become more textual in my constitutional interpretation. That's not a recent change. It's occurred over 30 years. But all of us agree this is a close question. Most people have a default one way or the other. I tend to default more with the text. And I think the better argument is probably the narrower argument, that you don't really have room for retroactive trials under the text. That's the position of Justice Joseph Story, who wrote his commentaries on the Constitution. It's probably the most cited authority on what the Constitution meant. It was written not long after the Constitution was signed. And Story said this is the difference between us and Great Britain. You cannot try former officials. And so it was interesting that Negus talked about the Hastings trial, but Joseph Story was talking about how, yeah, that's the difference. We don't do that in the United States under this standard. So I think in the end, you have a very interesting and unresolved issue. I have evolved in my view of the text, but I actually still agree with what I said in the Duke article, that there's value to retroactive trials. It's just you have to balance them against these costs and against the text.
Jonathan, what has struck you as